Hi, I'm Dr. Ankita from Excel MRCOG. In the exam, MRCOG Part 3 exam, you may come across a situation where you are faced with a patient with pathological CTG and the examiner wants to know your immediate steps. So, in such a situation, what are you expected to answer? Just to give you an example, here is a case of a para 1 at term in second stage of labor for 1 hour with pathological CTG. This would be a typical situation in a labor ward prioritization station. So what are you expected to say? It may not be enough to say I would apply an instrument or I would shift for cesarean section depending on PE findings. That is what comes to your mind, right? But it may not be enough because there are certain things that the NICE guidelines lays down that you would need to say in the exam in order to score the full marks. So, first of all, we need to decide who would be seeing the patient. So typically in a situation like this, in a labor ward prioritization, you would be the ST5 and you would have multiple emergencies to handle. So you may be going to a room with, say, another obstetric emergency. In such a case, if there is a pathological CTG in the other room, you could send your senior midwife because the NICE guidelines mentions that a case of pathological CTG has to be reviewed by an obstetrician and a senior midwife. So you think that you would require to deliver urgently, you could send your senior midwife initially and ask your consultant or request your consultant to review her along with the senior midwife. So what are the steps? First, you need to exclude any acute events like abruption, cord prolapse, or suspected uterine rupture. Correct any underlying cause such as hypotension or uterine hyperstimulation. Initiate conservative measures. Encourage the woman to adopt a posture of her choice that is comfortable for her and avoid supine hypotension. Offer IV fluids if there is hypotension. Reduce the frequency of contractions by reducing or stopping oxytocin altogether or offering tocilizers. Talk to the woman and birth companion, and this is a very important point that we often miss. If the CTG trace is still pathological after the initial conservative measures, obtain a further review, do a pervaginal examination, assess dilatation, position, station, do a fetal scalp stimulation and document the result. If the abnormality persists, then you need to take the woman's preferences into account. You may have to consider an FPS. I know she's in second stage. It may be easier to say that you would try and deliver her. But for example, if the head is high and you think that the second stage cesarean may be difficult and you would like to actually assess whether there is acidosis for the baby, you could consider an FBS in second stage as well. But the other options that are available to you, again depending on the findings, would be an instrumental delivery or a cesarean section. In case you do decide to shift her for a cesarean section, then you would need to take her consent, inform the theatre staff, inform the neonatologist, inform the anesthetist if you decide to deliver. Thank you.